Hi guys, this is Edna with Square Eye Photography, and today I want to talk a little bit about what it's really like to be a photographer and what that means for you if you want to become a professional photographer. So first of all, I want to say that if you are passionate about photography and you're a hobbyist photographer right now and you love taking photos, you bring your camera everywhere, and it's really something that sparks so much joy in you, then I would definitely consider turning your hobby and your passion into your career. But I want you to know what the reality is of being a photographer. And I want you to hear it from somebody who's been in the industry. Literally, I have been photographing pretty much my entire life. My dad was a hobbyist photographer, and I was holding a camera probably from the time I was 7, 8 years old. I was shooting my friends in junior high, doing little fashion photo shoots for them. In high school, I started taking classes and taking it a little bit more seriously, and obviously in college, I took it a lot more seriously. And I want to say this is super important for you to know and to understand. Owning a business in photography is a completely different thing than being a hobbyist photographer. So first of all, I spend very little of my actual working time photographing. I may have a couple of appointments a week, maybe 2 or 3 appointments a week where I'm actually photographing. So first of all, I want to tell you, I do weddings and portraits, so anything having to do with people. I actually have 6 different websites and 6 different brands of photography. I have a wedding photography website, squareeyephoto.com, but I also photograph newborns and maternity and motherhood sessions through another brand. I also do headshots and corporate event photography, which is another brand. I also photograph grads and high school seniors, which is another brand. I also do tons of family photography. I also do boudoir photography. That's another brand that I have. And I've also dabbled in architecture photography, indoor photography, like hotels and Airbnbs and real estate photography, even a little bit of real estate video. So I have touched many different types of photography in my very long career, and I've been photographing for 30 years. I've had my full-time business for well over 20 years. So out of the 30 years of me photographing, I've spent some of that time, my early years, photographing for other companies, other studios, high-end companies in Orange County, and then went out on my own about 20 years ago to have my full-time photography business. So I'm going to give you a little glimpse into what that means. So this is the spiel that I give people. If I had to start all over again, I would major in marketing and not photography. I feel like marketing is a much bigger part of our world as business owners than photography. Photography, it's not rocket science. It's not really difficult to figure out. You learn f-stops and shutter speeds, and over time you learn poses and you learn how to interact with your clients. And if you already have an innate passion for photography and you're already somebody who is an artist or has an artistic eye, it's going to be a lot easier for you. I don't even know where I was. Okay, so if you are an artist or if you're an artistic person, photography will probably come pretty easily to you. If you're a technical person and you love f-stops and shutter speeds, then the technical aspect of photography may come pretty easily to you, but you may struggle with things like posing or interacting with clients or learning how to make things look beautiful in front of the camera or the aesthetic of photography. But if you don't love sales, marketing, website building, SEO, blogging, creating content, making YouTube videos, learning social media, being a person who can brand themselves, then you may not want to get into having a photography business. They are 2 completely different universes, like really completely different. And I have mentored a lot of people. The biggest struggle for people that love photography is the business aspect. Everyone who has a camera and loves taking pictures wants to make money from it. But the actual reality is that I spend very little bit of my time in my work week actually photographing. The majority of my time is spent on everything else related to my business. So just to give you a little bit of my breakdown, and this is for this year only because it changes year to year. I have my calendar here in front of me to give you an idea of what my week looks like. So Monday is processing and retouching. Every Monday, I start processing, Lightrooming all of the images that I shot over the weekend and retouching orders and sending orders out to print. Tuesday, if I'm not done with all of that on Monday, then it goes into Tuesday, usually midday. Tuesday afternoon is for education. That's when I work on a workshop. I'm buying workshops all the time, and I'm usually behind, and I'm trying to catch up to all the workshops that I have because education is an extremely important part of running a business. Wednesday is content creation. It's Wednesday morning right now, 10:55 a.m., and I'm creating content. So this is what I do all day Wednesday. My daughter is off of school on Wednesdays. She usually helps me with content creation, or this will be her day to help blog, just help me film. She'll model for me for content creation. So this is what I do on Wednesdays. Wednesday afternoons, I'll usually start working on editing videos, and that for me is a little bit difficult because I'm kind of new at it. I just recently started creating content for YouTube where I'm actually having to make videos. I made slideshows for years of just the images that I photograph for different weddings at different venues, but now I'm trying to get some educational content out. So this year I've made it a goal to reach out to all the different wedding venues. So for me, Thursdays are about emailing people, reaching out to venues, meeting with them, taking coordinators or managers out to lunch and chatting and trying to get on the referral lists for different venues, or just trying to leave my flyers there so that clients can pick up those flyers and hire me for their event. And Fridays, I back up my hard drives, all of the work that I did during the week. I back that all up to separate mirror hard drives. I work on my wedding leads, and I'll work on my website, and I'll do paperwork like inputting things into spreadsheets and things like that. And then Saturdays and Sundays are for shooting. Now, if I'm totally booked on Saturday and Sunday, then I'll take a day off during the week, and I'll pick a day where, let's say I'll skip out on education that week and I'll take a day off. But as you notice, 90% of my schedule is doing some sort of marketing for myself and my business. It's not just shooting. I wish that I was independently wealthy and that all I needed to do was just shoot, and then I could come home and hand somebody my work and they could process it for me, and they can work on my website, and they can do my social media, and they can do everything for me. Now, I'm at a point finally in my career where I can afford to do certain things. I've hired out my daughter to do my social media. So she'll post to Instagram for me or Facebook, or she'll make my TikToks. And that has saved me a tremendous amount of time. But I wasn't always in that place where I could afford to do that. She also does blogging for me, a lot of the blogging for me. I'll do some of it. But again, I wasn't always at a place where I could do that. It really depends on where you're at for your business. If you can afford to give up a percentage of your income for somebody else to do other things for you, like website design. I've literally had to learn how to design a website, how to optimize my SEO, how to blog correctly. I've had to learn how to film. I've had to learn how to edit. I've had to learn about social media and algorithms. I've had to learn how to make PDFs for my clients so that they have welcome guides. I've had to learn how to design. I designed my own logo. I've designed all my marketing materials. I've learned how to print. I've learned so much about branding and marketing myself. And I am not an expert per se at any of these things. And I'm sure that I would do better if I could hire somebody out for every single one of these things. But I would then make absolutely no money. So you have to figure out what's important for you, what you want to take time to do, and what you don't want to take time to do. But I will tell you right now that the business aspect of photography is not the same thing as just having fun shooting all the time. And if you love photography, but you hate the idea of running a business, then maybe having a photography business is not going to be for you, and you can just keep photography as a hobby. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't always have to turn your passion into a business. Sure, it's great, but it's not everything that you think it's going to be. Every single day isn't filled with things that I love to do. I hate blogging. I mean, I really hate blogging. And there are some things I love to do. I don't mind processing and retouching images, and I don't mind putting together wedding albums for my clients. And yeah, absolutely, the photography aspect of what I do is my favorite thing. It's what I'm passionate about. But I also paint, and I paint really well. And I'm not planning on turning that into a business at any point. It's just a passion. I also bake sourdough bread. I was also learning piano. I have a million different things that I'm passionate about, photography being at the top of the list. But I just want to tell you that this is the reality of having a business, especially now. Back in the olden days, because I'm old, you could just put out an ad on the yellow pages, and word of mouth was really the way that you would run a business. And it was easier. I'm telling you guys, it was so much easier to have a business when there wasn't this many ways to market a business. It can now be really overwhelming. And what I do is I just choose one thing to do every year, one thing to concentrate on, right? At one point I concentrated on Instagram, and this year we're doing TikTok. And sometimes when I've nailed what I'm doing with a particular type of marketing, then I'll just add it to the following year. So I'm always going to be posting on Instagram. It's just a natural thing. And I'm always going to post on Facebook. It's just natural for me now. But like creating content for YouTube, if this goes well, I'll keep doing this year after year after year. Talking with people at venues, or meeting and networking with people at venues. If it goes well, then I'll add it to next year's, and then I'll add something else. But if it doesn't go well, I'll drop it and try something else. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to give you a realistic view of what it is to really run a business, a real business in the photography world. Now, there are things that work for other photographers that haven't worked for me. Every business is unique. So if you see a workshop that tells you that you're going to make $500,000 this year by using their thing that they do, it's a lie. They're trying to sell you something. That just doesn't exist. Every business is unique. I have tried everything, you guys. I have marketed in every way. I've tried every workshop, and I haven't hit the $1 million mark. I haven't made a bazillion. I'm not getting rich off of photography. I'm successful. I pay my bills. I do well, but it's not easy, and I'm not getting rich. And it's a constant hustle and a constant struggle to try to figure out what to do to get people to call and to book. It is constantly work, constantly. Nothing has come easy for me. So I'm just letting you know that there isn't a secret formula. People get really upset when they spend $10,000 on some photographer to teach them how to do something, and they barely know how to use a camera, and their work is terrible. They haven't even gotten a year into their business, and they think they're going to make $10,000 from a sale. That just doesn't exist. It really honestly doesn't exist. You're going to be at this for years and years and years before you're good. I've known people that have gotten really good in about 4 years, but that's nearly unheard of, like really good. And I've been in this for 30 years, and I've gotten really good at all kinds of different photography because I've had the time, because I've done this for 30 years, right? So it took me about 4 years to get really good at newborns. It took me about 4 to 5 years to get really good with wedding photography. Headshots are a little easier. There's some types of work that once you know how to do one type of work, some of them become a little bit easier. But to become a master at something and to become really good at it takes a minimum of 4 years. I'm not kidding you guys. It really does take a while to get really good at learning how to be a master at something. What do they say? It's like 10,000 hours or something to really be a master. So that's another thing. Like, you're not just going to grab a camera and take really good pictures of your kids and think that in a year you're just going to be stellar and you're going to be selling thousands of dollars in your packages and people are going to be buying huge wall portraits from you. It just doesn't work that way. And maybe it worked that way for a few people, and maybe it worked that way for a photographer that you know, and maybe somebody got lucky or had an in somewhere and they have super high-end clients. But I'm a photographer of 30 years. I have mid-range, mid-level clients that have some expendable income, but I'm not in the thousands of dollars when I'm selling my packages, right? I'm not getting rich. I have to work hard for what I do. I've tried tons of workshops that have promised me all kinds of things. And for somebody who's been shooting as much as I have and who does it as well as I do and is still not selling $10,000 packages, I'm here to tell you that someone who's telling you that that's going to happen is lying to you. You have to be good at your craft. You have to be great at branding yourself and marketing yourself and getting out there at meeting people. There's a lot of formula that it takes to be a really successful photographer. And some people get lucky. That happens too. Some people are charming and they're just naturally great. Some people are never going to make it. I have friends of mine that are always going to struggle, or they're always going to have a part-time job doing other things because they just struggle with certain aspects of running a business. So keep that into consideration. Understand that marketing your business is a full-time job on top of shooting. So that's my spiel for the day, guys. And I hate to burst some of your bubbles, and I hope that the people that are really serious and that really think that they can do it should go out and try to do it. Don't quit your full-time job right away. Make sure that you have like 6 months of savings so that in case your business doesn't get off the ground right away, you're able to pay your bills and not end up living in your car or anything. It is possible to do it. People are doing it every day. I did it. And let me tell you, I did it when people were losing their homes. At the beginning of the last recession is when I started. Like, things were bad out there and I succeeded and I did really well. My business was successful right off the bat, but I'd already been shooting for 10 years for other companies. So I already was a photographer, a good photographer at that point. I encourage you guys to, number one, if you are in school and you're right now majoring in photography, I would definitely consider to either switch majors and do marketing and minor in photography, or to take marketing classes, or if you're already a photographer and you're struggling with your business, to take marketing classes or to take workshops on marketing, because there are plenty of workshops out there for marketing, just marketing, because that's such a huge part of having a business. Every month or so, I try to get out and do a fine art shoot for myself, something that's just for me, because I'm holding the camera to make everyone else look good and to give my clients beautiful heirloom images, but I'm not shooting for myself. So every once in a while, I'll get out there and I'll do something for me, because it's what I used to do before I had a business. I shot just for me all the time, and it was so much fun, and I missed that. So I started doing fine art photo shoots just for myself, and I enjoy those so much, and they just keep that creativity bubbling, and it keeps me able to stay in this for this long. 30 years, guys, I've been doing this. 30 years. But it's those kinds of things that I do that really keep my passion alive. And the wonderful thing about having a business, if you're business minded and you think that you can do it, is things are constantly changing. You're constantly having to learn new things, algorithms, different social media things that come up like TikTok, and it's always a challenge. And for me, I love challenges. I love to be challenged. So this business is constantly keeping me on my toes, constantly keeping me learning new things. And that is something that I love. So I'm able to do the business part of this and really enjoy it. So anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please comment if you have any questions, if you need any advice, if you need anything, even just comment just to help the algorithm so that people can find this video a little bit more easily. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to choose happiness, choose passion, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.